Woo! Oh, you know what I don't have on? I want to get the comments on so I can see people. Let me escape this. There we go. And here we are. Hey, everybody, we're live. Welcome to another edition of Friday Facebook Live. It is Friday, July 14th, 2023. And we have this guy and this woman.
He doesn't know our name.
That's right. We have Dr. Cobble B. Esselstyn Jr. and we have Ann Esselstyn in the house. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Let us know in the comments section where you're joining us from. We'd love to see where everybody's tuning in from. See, Beth is from Tulsa. Fantastic. We got Paul from Bracebridge, Ontario, Canada. Bracebridge. Never heard of that. Have you?
Fires there.
Oh, yeah. So I am at the farm in upper state New York right now. I'm here for the most part, the month of July. And I get to spend a lot of time with these two wonderful people. And we've been having an absolute blast. And
Rip has been doing a lot of cooking. It's been great.
Yeah, if you've been tuning in to some of the...
Oh, my gosh. And this huge box of your products arrived. And we are going nuts.
Well, yeah. And if you look at the my Instagram channel, you'll see we have all these dinners that I post out on the porch. And they've been a blast making them with Ann, with my daughters. Essy every once in a while chimes in, throws in.
He's a good eater.
Yeah. And dishwasher.
Yeah, definitely.
But we want to take your questions today. Any questions you have for Ann and or Essy and or myself, just absolutely fire away. And while you guys are putting those in the chat, let me get started by saying, Ann, is there anything that you're growing in your garden right now that's just flourishing and doing really well?
Yeah, everything's well. Last night we had a storm to end all storms, and my garden didn't get flooded, but it sure got enough water. But the kale, I have all different kinds of kale, collards, Swiss chard, and bok choy. Amazing. And then every kind of tomato you can imagine.
And so
some peppers.
Yeah. And so that's what you're doing out in the garden, the garden. It's a fun play on Ann at the end of garden. And then in the house, what do you got going in those jars by the sink?
Sprouts, broccoli sprouts. And they are, and Rip's daughter, Sophie, looked at me today and said, are you ready to sprout? Are we ready to harvest those? Because she has this amazing lunch, and on the top of it, she puts tons of sprouts. And sprouts you can put everywhere. And they make such a difference. And there's no way to get more power out of your food than eat it sprouted.
Yeah, what is it? It's the sulforaphane, right? That's in those sprouts that are supposed to be really spectacular for you. I love this comment. You are loved. I guess we got lightning and thunder. Who's lightning and who's thunder here between Ann and Essy? You guys throw that in the chat room. All right.
Essy's both.
Essy's both. Well, I think you're thunder.
No, really?
I do. So you guys let us know. But you know what, Essy? We already got some comments coming in that I'm going to throw your way right now. So let's start with this one right here. Here. Ready? So Jennifer Pryor wants to know, elaborate on why triglycerides can increase when you go on a whole food, plant-based, no oil kind of way of eating.
Well, at that time, people usually will switch more and more to simple carbohydrates, and that may be in the form of an excess of fruits, and they may find themselves getting fruit juice. Some people tumble into more and more smoothies, different ways of really getting the simple carbohydrates, which will jack up triglycerides, as will alcohol.
Mm-hmm. Good. So those simple sugars definitely do it. And why is it that simple sugars, because really aren't triglycerides a function of the amount of fat that you have in your blood? So is it because they get converted into fat?
When they go through the liver, they they do get converted.
Yeah. Okay. So you knew this one was coming your way. So we'll just throw it up on the screen for everybody to see. John Andrew, 23, are green smoothies bad for you? Thank you.
Well, no, they're not. I don't think they're bad for you. But what happens is that when you are eating a piece of fruit, an apple, a banana, an orange, when you eat the fruit as fruit, the fructose or the sugar is really combined with fiber, and therefore the absorption is very safe and slow. When you get a green smoothie, often people want to sweeten it. It's a little bit tart, and they'll put in a banana, an orange, or an apple. And now when they blend it, suddenly now no longer is the fructose bound to fiber, and it goes off like a rocket in your stomach, which injures the, which can injure endothelial cells and so forth. So that's the criticism for smoothies when they try to sweeten them.
Well, may I also add that particularly for people who are considering weight, drinking your calories is absurd. It's much better to chew them because you just have you can get so many calories just in drinking. So we always emphasize chew your food, just chew it. Unless you have, no teeth or you're old then there's nothing better than a smoothie.
Yeah. And if you guys recall from my third book, The Engine 2 7-Day Rescue Diet, the third pillar of that whole program is why we want to chew our food, why we don't want to drink our calories, right? Unless obviously there's
teeth.
no teeth or some other confounding issues that are happening that don't allow you to chew and masticate your food. All right. And somebody wants to know here, do you do any canning with all that produce?
No, because we eat it. We eat it before we could possibly can it. Yeah.
No, we're I guess we've never been canners, have we?
No, because I think we eat too much of what we make.
You guys wouldn't believe how much food this family can go through. It's quite a wonder.
Our wonderful meals on the porch, it astounds me when I look at what's left. Nothing's left.
Yeah.
And I mean, there are only 5 of us right now eating all this. And I mean, last night we had little tiny potatoes that they were incredible.
And let me tell everybody how to make them.
Okay.
So we had these little Yukon Gold potatoes. So the first thing I did is I sliced them either in half and then again in quarters. Then what you do is I steam them, huge bucket of these sliced potatoes. I steam them until you can put a fork or a knife in them and it just goes right through them. Then I took them out, put them into a big bowl, and I threw in a bunch of spices, pepper, chili powder, onion granules, garlic granules, and red chili flakes. Mixed it all up with my hands, and then I poured it on 2 cookie sheets with parchment paper, threw them in the oven at 425, 450 for probably 15, 20 minutes until they're
just perfectly browned.
Yeah.
And I want to tell you, there was just maybe 6 left on the platter, and we were all fighting over those 6 last ones. I don't know who ate them. Did you?
I mean, I literally cut up 2 huge bags of these, and it's amazing. When you think there's no way we're going to go through this whole 2 bags of, roasted potatoes, we found a way.
We also had broccoli, and although I always use fresh broccoli, you're big on using frozen too, and you took frozen broccoli and did it this amazing way. You might want to tell them. And we also had the potatoes, broccoli, fresh corn. It was good, and then salad, and it was just the most beautiful plate of colorful food. It was.
Didn't you like those potatoes last night?
Those they were delicious.
Hey, thank you guys for your concern. Justin wants to know, did your area get those awful floods? And we didn't right here in Claverack, but some of the outlying areas definitely got hit pretty hard, the Hudson Valley area. But thank you. And boy, did it ever rain hard yesterday. Let's see here. All right. I'm trying to keep up here with all these comments. Ann, this is probably good for you, and then I'll chime in too. Bob wants to know, what is your go-to favorite vegetable to grill? I know it isn't. Well, no, he put eggplant.
Oh.
No, it isn't. Well, for me at least.
Well, eggplant, I love eggplant. Rip doesn't, but I'm going to make it again, and he's going to love it. But I absolutely love cauliflower that I just put it on a pan in the oven. You could put it on the grill, I suppose, too. And I put hummus, nutritional yeast, a little sriracha, some balsamic vinegar, mix it all up, put it all over it. Oh, it's just, I could eat the whole cauliflower myself if nobody else were around.
One of my favorite things to grill is I like taking a cast iron skillet. I put it on our barbecue pit. I throw in halved Brussels sprouts that I kind of spice up like I do potatoes.
You cook them first? You steam
No.
them?
No. And then I just basically let those Brussels sprouts cook on the grill in the cast iron skillet.
Do they get black?
They get perfect. Get perfect. We don't have a barbecue grill here, but if we did.
We do. We have a huge pit outside.
We do. It's a pit, and it requires quite the effort to put the wood in there, light it, get it going. I mean, it is huge. It's the size of what I would say a small refrigerator, a large refrigerator. All right. Bit wants to know, does pressure cooking with apple cider vinegar and water do the same thing for my endothelium as anointing the greens with balsamic after they're cooked?
The reason that I've chosen the balsamic and rice vinegar is because research has shown that they have the capacity to restore the nitric oxide synthase enzyme contained within the endothelial cell and responsible for making nitric oxide. So the problem with the reason that I haven't switched to other ciders like apple cider and so forth is simply I have not yet seen the research that shows that would work. It may, but I have to wait until I've seen the research.
So whoever asked that question, do you know of any research that supports that? If you do, and let's say it did exist, do you know if cooking with that would be helpful?
Well, again, that has to be studied.
I know. I know. But okay. All right. He's not going to concede anything here. So
I'm a scientist.
So Judy Kaiser here wants to know, I'm still having a problem getting all the greens that you recommend. Any suggestions on how to get them?
Maybe what store to get them at?
No. How to get 4 to 6 servings of.
Mix them in your breakfast cereal for sure. Cook them, eat them on the side, eat them on top, eat them under. Cook a whole lot ahead. Mix them up. It doesn't have to just be one kind. Put them in a wide mouth jar if you're traveling, and then they're there. Then you'll use them.
And don't overdo it to the point where you've got more than you can handle. After all, just something that a quarter of the size of your fist or less would really get the job done.
Explain the reason why.
And
keeping the nitric oxide level.
Right. Because what you're doing, when you do this all day long, remember, the reason that people do have a cardiovascular disease is because they have so sufficiently destroyed their endothelial cells with the Western diet that they're running short of nitric oxide, which is what the endothelial cells are making. Now, when you're running short of nitric oxide, then now you lost your protection for the endothelial cell, and now you have the cholesterol can find a crack and a fissure and opening, and it can get through into the subendothelial space where we begin that havoc of building plaque.
I'm just trying to figure out where we want to go from there. I think All right, let's take this question. It's on the screen. This is from Cynthia. A family member has congenital heart failure. He has stents, a pacemaker, and he has had bypass surgery. Can he still get off meds if he adopts a whole food, plant-based, no oil diet?
I think you meant to say he had congestive heart failure. Is that right?
Yes.
All right. Well, and what were the things that had been done? He had a bypass. They'd had a stent. Is that right?
Pacemaker, bypass surgery.
So that avenue is shut down. And what really is often can happen is if you've got some of the myocardial, that is to say, the heart muscle cells, are not getting an optimal blood supply, they do not perform adequately. And what seems to happen in patients with congestive heart failure, not everybody, but many of them we've seen, when they switch to having a whole food plant-based nutrition, there are those heart muscle cells which are getting a marginal blood supply. Let's call those, they are what we call hibernating. And these hibernating cells cannot really squeeze like they should. So often what we've seen, especially after somebody who has had a heart attack, at the edge of the heart attack where the muscle goes from scar to normal, those immediate cells are hibernating. And if you can get those to get a greater blood supply, they no longer are hibernating, but they can contribute to the squeezing muscle of the heart, which can improve their congestive heart failure.
Okay. Wonderful. We're going to fire a couple more at you here, Essy. Here. No, I don't want to go with that one, Carrie. Here. This is from Debbie. Dr. Esselstyn, I have lipedemia,
Lipedemia.
No, but maybe there's no I there, but lipedema, maybe she means lipedemia. I was recently diagnosed with, and I have shooting pains in my feet at night. Can I hope for it to improve with a plant-based eating program? Yeah.
Well, all treatment really is predicated on having an absolute rock solid diagnosis. And once you've got to get clarification of what is causing the problem. Yes, for people who do have marginal blood supply into their extremities, whole food plant-based nutrition can improve that blood supply. No question, and that would help if that is the problem.
Okay, because a lot of people that have, for example, diabetes and other issues have the tingling in their extremities. And what's the term for that? The tingling in the extremity. Neuropathy, exactly right. Yeah. So this is from Deborah. She says, my potassium was on the high end of average. Is this normal on a plant-based diet? Should I be concerned? Have you ever?
No, if you have normal kidney function, that's really not an issue.
Okay. All right. So, Ann, they're calling you lightning because you like spices. Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, you like spices, Rip. You should see Rip put the spices on things. It's amazing.
Yeah, I get aggressive. Betsy says.
Not even aggressive with, what was it? The hot pepper. I mean, it was like, oh, you put that much on, and it was okay.
Betsy turned 70 this year. My husband made me a tire to drag. I'm so happy.
Hey, now that's a good husband. And have fun dragging your tire. It is a good way to get quick exercise when you don't have a lot of time. Good luck, Debbie.
Yeah, it's quick and it's so effective, and it's actually it feels really good. Here's a question for Ann from Maureen. What do you use on your garden greens to deter garden critters, bugs from getting to them?
I don't have any luck on that score. I eat holey, HOLEY, greens all the time. And one year, there was just the stems left. They were so eaten. So I don't have a solution to that, but it doesn't worry me to have, to eat something with little holes.
Okay. This is coming back to you, Essy. So this is from Candleflower. If HDL and triglycerides are the same at 80, does it matter if the LDL is at 160? Thank you.
Well, it's very easy to sort of get sometimes absolutely wrapped up and tied up into numbers. And obviously, it's nice to have your numbers be fine. But when you think about it, how often do you suppose those who are living in rural China or Okinawa or Central Africa, areas where cardiovascular disease is virtually non-existent, how often do you suppose they get tied up with numbers? The whole key here, especially with I guess it was your HDL, which was 80, which is rather high, and would suggest to me that is somebody who is not eating a whole food, plant-based type of nutrition. Because when you do that, you get rid of so much inflammation in your body that as your body gets rid of inflammation, it's going to make the message to your liver that you need less and less of HDL, which is an anti-inflammatory compound. So it's not at all unusual for patients who are fully committed to eating whole food, plant-based nutrition to find their HDL cholesterol, especially in men, below the accepted normal of 40. That may be down around 34 or 30. But that's actually fine, because when you think about it, what is the average HDL cholesterol of the Tarahumara Indians in northern Mexico who never have heart disease? 25. That will drive the unknowing cardiologist absolutely apoplectic. So I'd like to see what those numbers look like after you've been 100% committed for at least 3 weeks to whole food plant-based nutrition.
I don't know if you have any experience with this, Essy, but this person wants to know, can someone who's eating whole food plant-based with an ileostomy ensure that they're getting enough nutrients since the transit time is so short?
Yeah, that should not. It might be a little bit challenging, but it certainly would not work against if somebody is getting adequate whole food plant-based nutrition.
All right. What do you think about? So this is from Lori Williams. Her father-in-law has kidney stones. It's very difficult talking to him about plant-based eating, but do you have any suggestions?
Well, I get the kidney stones to be analyzed and go easy on protein. And once that stone has been analyzed, see if you can't find out when you know what the kind is. Let's say if it's calcium carbonate or other types of stones, you can check. I think it's spinach, which is one of the foods that is fairly high. And suddenly the one I'm thinking of escapes me at the moment. But you want to try to eliminate foods that carry a high degree of factors that are going to contribute to stones.
Okay. This is a rather large question, but basically this is from Angela. She's got her mother's in her mid-60s. She has AFib, non-sustained ventricular tachycardia, high cholesterol, and hypertension. And she's been trying to convert her to a whole food plant-based diet without success. And she feels confident that we'll eliminate the high cholesterol and the hypertension. Do you think it would also help with the other two heart conditions, meaning the AFib and the ventricular tachycardia? She's has to assume that the cholesterol and hypertension contribute a great deal to the symptoms that she continues to have.
Well, no question that the hypertension can be helped. It would be unfair of me to tell you that whole food plant-based nutrition is going to change the cardiac rhythm or atrial fibrillation. But I think that the challenge you face is getting your relative to make the change. And I think that what really works to make somebody change is if you show them respect. At least that is find that in our practice. And by that, I mean, you give these patients with questions, give them your time, have them understand what is the mechanism, what is the causation of cardiovascular disease. When they understand that what are absolutely the foods that every time you eat them, you injure the endothelium, and then you end up with less and less nitric oxide, which is what the endothelial cells are making to protect you from getting atherosclerosis or heart disease. Because it's very few patients who once they absolutely understand the mechanism of causation. Anybody with a brain in their head is not going to continue to eat the foods that are going to make it worse.
Okay. And you want to try this one? This is from Whole Plant Food for Life. And she wants to know, I heard rice can absorb a lot of arsenic from flooded fields where it's grown. Any insight on whether to avoid rice? I love rice.
Oh, we eat rice all the time. And I try and always get rice that's from California.
Right.
And that rice, I think, has not had
Or overseas,
the arsenic possibility.
Yeah.
Well, which are the areas that supposedly have a lot of arsenic?
The Southeast. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And Lundberg Farm, Lundberg is the rice that I get a lot of.
All right, there you go. Whole plant food for life. Let's see here. Does anyone grill portobellos? I love them, but find that they can get so dry on the grill or oven, which I like.
Oh my gosh. Our new favorite meal is Portobello burgers. And I'd simply take the Portobello burger, and this is the Portobello, and I take a knife and I make little slits across the top. And then I put barbecue sauce on it and I bake it. Now you could put it on the grill too. But I bake it, and then, oh my goodness, it is stunning with sprouts, arugula, tomato slices, and amazing. But by doing those little slices across, like crisscrossing, one bite doesn't bring the whole Portobello. You get it in pieces.
All right. This is from Jean.
And Essy, speak to that Portobello burger.
Oh, it's one of my favorite meals. It is absolutely so delicious. It'll steal the eye right out of your head.
Yeah, not me. I'm not. I'm not.
I have not had one of our Portobello burgers. We're having them.
I haven't.
No.
There's something about the consistency of portobello mushroom. It's like
you crisscross it and put barbecues up. Not listening.
I know. It's spongy like eggplant, and I just don't like that texture. I'm not a fan. So this is Gina. Thank you so much, Esselstyn family. I can't tell you how much I appreciate all that you do. I'm making Ann's baked tomato and eggplant recipe tonight. Yum.
Yes.
Why don't we kind of just go around the couch here? Start with you. What's your favorite breakfast to have a great start into the day?
Oh, there's no question. It ought to be old-fashioned rolled oats with some raisins, with maybe some bananas. And also I like to have berries. I like to have blackberries, blueberries, strawberries, and raspberries. And I like to wet it down with some oat milk. And that, to me, is an absolute treasure. And I also add either chia seeds or flaxseed meal. And that's it.
A little amla powder.
And are you doing amla?
Yeah.
Okay. And then would you say you have a abbreviated size bowl typically after dinner as well?
Well, occasionally.
It's very insulting. It means that the dinner wasn't adequate.
No. That's not true. That's not true. And what about you? What's your favorite breakfast?
Oh, no question. I've gone through no breakfast, toast. I've got leftover salad from the night before. And no question, I now have a breakfast that I feel is the only thing I have to eat to be healthy. And that is half a cup of steel cut oats, 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast, just because it makes it smooth and delicious. And then turmeric, and then pepper, because pepper activates turmeric. And then I put in about a teaspoon of sriracha hot sauce. The green lid is what I like. And then these are the next 2 things that are so key. I put in maybe a little handful of shiitake mushrooms, frozen. I just buy them sliced, freeze them, and then they last for a week, a little box. And then I chop up kale or any greens. This morning I had a combination of kale, bok choy, Swiss chard, and just chopped up.
All from your garden?
All from the garden. All chopped up it makes about 2 cups. And then I put about 2.5 cups of water, and I cook it. And I don't like it to be thick. I stop cooking it maybe after 8, 9, 10 minutes when it's really soup-like. And then by the time I can eat it, it's cooled enough and it's kind of coagulated a little. It's the best.
And then I got to give a little shameless plug for my breakfast. So I'm sure you're all aware. Probably 6 mornings a week, I have the Rips Big Bowl cereal concoction. We've commercialized it in the last, really, when I became a Whole Food Market partner back in 2010 and 2012, we introduced the Rips Big Bowl cereal. We now have it under the Plant Strong label. So we have 3 varieties, as you guys know. And like Essy, I do all kinds of fruit on top. I do usually oat or soy milk on top. And then I also do some sort of ground flaxseed meal, chia seed combination as well. Now, this is a shameless plug for the latest and greatest Plant Strong product. And basically,
wait, before you go there,
yeah,
let me make one other thing. I love just handfuls of Rips Big Bowl when I need a little snack. And I don't like wetting it. I don't like any cereal wetted. And I just like those snacks. And you put Rips Big Bowl on, right? When you have cereal at night, you often use Rips Big Bowl. So, until you see
we introduced these about a month ago. We have 3 varieties of Plant Strong waffle and pancake mixes. This is our 7 grain. Okay, 7 grain. It's got no added sugar, no salt, and oil-free. Phenomenal. We also have and this is the one, if you saw on my Instagram post the other night, this was Ann's idea. We had savory pancakes, much like her savory oatmeal in the morning, using the sweet potato and ancient grain pancake and waffle mix. And this is for those that are a little more daring and eclectic in nature. And inside, what do we put?
The mushrooms. I think it was chopped onions and Swiss chard. We did use Swiss chard just because we got it. Yeah. And it was great. Just lots in there. And, you could put salsa on it. But I liked it just eating it in my hand as if it were a sandwich.
And then the last flavor is, and if any of you are gluten-free, even if you're not gluten-free, you just want a killer pancake, this home-style gluten-free pancake mix is phenomenal. As I said, we introduced these a month ago. We have almost run out of these. We just placed another order for more yesterday. And so we'll probably be out of stock, unfortunately, for 2 to 3 weeks. But this is a gangbuster of a successful product. You wouldn't believe how they rise, how they brown, how easy they are to flip, how tasty they are. Literally.
Rip just goes and flips them. Yeah. I mean, they flip crazy. So they're just unbelievably delicious and so simple. And they're the one thing that would get me not to eat my breakfast sometimes.
So Debbie Sykes likes to say, Dr. Esselstyn, you were so sweet to call me a few weeks ago about my cytosterolemia diagnosis, doing your no oil diet now. So
thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there anything that you want to say? Because, I know that you are still the director of the cardiovascular disease prevention and reversal program at the Cleveland Clinic Wellness Center, and you're still counseling patients, correct?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And if anybody's interested, what can they do to get in touch with you?
My secretary, Jacqueline Fry, and Jackie is very gracious and accommodating, and she'll show you how to be a part of our.
But Jacqueline Fry, that doesn't mean anything. So how is there an email? Is there a website?
If you go to my website, dresselstyn.com, you can find Jackie's phone number.
No, her email. She prefers an email. Email her, and then she will get that. Contact you directly.
Right.
These guys are really, they know how to promote themselves, don't they?
But she's been overwhelmed by telephone, and so she can deal with the emails much better.
Yeah. So go to dresselstyn.com, and then.
But I always like to have them, when possible, have a person.
Oh yeah. No. If you ever want to talk to my husband, don't even think about emailing, because he needs to talk on the phone. So always send your phone number, and then he will get in touch with you.
But send it to Jackie.
Yeah. And how often are you doing your counseling seminars?
Once a month.
All right, once a month. Sounds good. And that's not live. That's virtual, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you can just do it from the comfort of your
couch.
August 16th is next.
All right. Thank you for that question, Julia, about the best breakfast to start the day. That's what led to all that. All right. So this is Justin just started mixing a cup of cauliflower rice into their morning oatmeal, because it's considered a green leafy. He doesn't even know it's there. What do you think of the cauliflower?
That's great. So, I offer them, the more things you can get into your food, the more variety, the better. And of course, there you're getting the green.
People often wonder when I ask them to eat the greens, what kind of greens, and we have a list, and it goes like this. It goes, first of all, there are the top 6, which are kale, Swiss chard, spinach, arugula, beet greens, and beets. Now, if you want the whole list, it goes like this.
Wait, can we handle it? Yeah, we can.
Bok choy, Swiss chard, kale, collards, collard green, beet greens, mustard green, turnip greens, napa cabbage, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, cauliflower, cilantro, parsley, spinach, and arugula, and asparagus. And the reason I go through this with these patients is they have to understand what whole food plant-based nutrition can do for your memory.
And we're having asparagus tonight for dinner.
Oh, that's on the list, right?
Yeah, last, not
Yeah. Yeah, we were just talking about this yesterday, Essy. Tina, 49-year-old male with a 2,200 heart calcium score. Doctor's putting on Crestor. He thinks it's too late to be plant-based.
How high was that cholesterol?
2,200. No, that was the heart calcium score.
Oh, his calcium score.
Yeah. Is it ever too late?
To what?
To go plant-based.
Oh,
that's the question.
No, it's never too late. Let me just give an example of somebody that, this is my oldest patient that I ever started with was 87. And the reason he came to see us was he had been told he had to have bypass surgery, and he felt that at his age that the bypass surgery would kill him. So he decided to go whole food plant-based nutrition. Wonderful patient, and would about every year he would call once or twice to let us know how he was doing. Last year, around May or June, he called and wanted to speak with Ann, and he asked Ann for a recipe because he was having a party of about 100 people, and he wanted to make sure they had a wonderful plant-based item. And then Ann asked him, well, what was the occasion? And Stanley said, well, I'm celebrating my 100th birthday. That was last year. This year, about a month ago, we got another call from Stanley. He wanted us to know that he was celebrating his 101st birthday.
So he's been after it for what, 14 years now.
That's right.
Wow.
And one of the suggestions for his party was to have a recipe with 100 ingredients in it. I don't know that he did that, but I love that idea. When any of you reach 100, think of that. Have a party with 100 ingredients in one of your recipes, or at least in the food that you serve.
Carolyn Schultz says, I live next door in Kinderhook, not too far away,
Right.
and haven't been able to find a healthcare provider who gets the idea of a plant-based diet. Any suggestions?
Yeah, you don't have to have a healthcare worker who has totally been schooled in whole food plant-based nutrition. You can always find either through the internet, if you go for plantbaseddocs.com. But remember this, it's really not rocket science, and you can actually learn from the books that are available out there. You can learn what are the essential ingredients of having a basic whole food plant-based existence, and you can have most of your questions answered that way. And still, your hometown doctor can take care of you with all the usual problems that are there. But don't ever despair, because they're really there's so much information on plant-based nutrition that is out there, and you yourself will become the expert.
Yeah, there's several wonderful plant-based telehealth companies that are out there.
Mm-hmm.
Some actually take insurance. I know some don't. To me, it's very reasonably priced, so you should check them out. Carrie, maybe we can post something about the one by Lori Marbus, and then also the other one, Love.life.
Or Ted Barnett up in Buffalo or Rochester.
Yeah. There's several, and they're all great. Okay, Essy, this. What do you think? I know Essy does not want us to drink coffee. Is green tea okay?
Yes.
Coffee's all right as long as it doesn't have caffeine, right?
Right.
So you're okay with decaf then?
Yep.
And could you remind everybody, what is it about the caffeine that's unsettling for you?
Well, I don't think the research has really shown what it might be. Particularly, what got me interested in being conservative about this is a Greek and an Italian study. In the Italian study, what they did was they had a group of healthy young subjects, and they were divided in half. And one group was drinking coffee with caffeine. The other was drinking coffee that was decaf. After they drank the beverage, they then did the brachial artery tourniquet test, which is a test for measuring the person's nitric oxide. And then they would switch groups. The group that previously was consuming coffee with caffeine was now decaf. And when they got the results, it was always the group that was drinking coffee with caffeine that compromised and injured the ability of the endothelial cells to make nitric oxide.
All right. Thank you for the explanation. Kim Burnett wants to know, are you careful about glyphosates in your oats? And I want you to know that, yeah, you definitely want to stay away from glyphosates and either get oats that are organic, or you can get oats that are actually glyphosate free. And it should have that little glyphosate free bubble on the back of the bag of oats or whatever it is that has oats in it. I know that we are coming out with a product very soon, and due to cost, organic doesn't make sense. So we're actually making sure that the oats that we're getting from Canada are glyphosate free.
When I buy oats, I always buy organic, just because we eat so many. I figure if it's a little more expensive, it's worth it.
So I just want to read this because we love hearing stories like this. This is from Susan. Thank you so much, Esselstyn family. Since switching to whole food plant-based, my A1C has dropped from 12.7 to 4.9.
She's got it right.
This works. This has been over a 1-year time frame.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, have you seen numbers like that quite frequently?
Well, you see frequently benefit, but not always in numbers like that, because they don't come along that often. Yes, they can be that high, but you don't always see people who are willing to commit like this person has.
Yeah. Karen Brown says research is showing that soy can help with menopause, hot flashes, but does it help other symptoms? And is there anything else that could help, particularly mood changes that
HRT.
that HRT helps, but I don't want to stay on it. I'm sorry, Karen. I'm not quite sure I understand the question completely. If it's soy, I would say, the benefits of whole soy have been very, very proven beyond a doubt. And that's tofu, that's edamame, it's soy milk that is made with just whole soybeans. These have been shown to be very beneficial for things like menopause, the breast cancer, things of that nature. I know that Dr. Christy Funk is a huge, huge fan of soy products every day. Anything you want to?
No, that's good.
Yeah. All right.
Well, I must say that, Essie, for your patients, sometimes people can go crazy putting soy everywhere. So I think as a heart disease person, you probably need to be careful that you're eating soy, but you're not having it morning, noon, and night twice, 6 times a day, because it is 40% fat.
Nora, I'm 66 and I'm having a competition with my 16-year-old granddaughter. I can do 25 chin-ups and 5 pull-ups. That's pretty good.
Wow.
That's outstanding.
She's not there yet. We started on June 18th when I was only able to do 5 chin-ups and 0 pull-ups. Wow. So what's the difference between a chin-up and a pull-up? Is a chin-up this way and a pull-up this way? I'm not sure I know.
I'm not sure they defined it.
Oh my goodness. How did you
Well,
do
whatever
that?
the case. Well,
we want the details.
I think she's been consistent. I'm trying to find questions that you guys, thanks so much for all these.
Granddaughter is going to have a hard time catching up.
Thanks for all these great questions. I'm just trying to find some that hopefully everybody will benefit from. So sorry if I'm skipping over your question. All right, Essie, anything on this? 2 questions from Kyle. I've noticed that much more dry, cracked skin since adopting a whole food, plant-based, no oil diet, especially during winter. Will this subside? Also, I'm having difficulties finding no oil whole wheat tortillas. Will these be a Plant Strong item soon, or suggestions? You want to take the first one? About
no oil tortillas. Ezekiel makes them. So you can be sure whenever you get Ezekiel products that they are no oil.
What was the first part?
Well, first, they've got dry skin, especially in the wintertime.
Yeah, I feel no restraint in going ahead and using something to moisten your skin. But I'm not aware that whole food plant-based nutrition is causing the problem.
Okay. All right. And you read some of these too, because they're coming in hot and heavy. Ann, are you supposed to remove the ribs from underneath mushrooms?
Oh, I know. I mean, if I make, for a portobello, when I want it in a burger, I will cut the rib off and then I put it aside, put a little barbecue sauce on it, and then I get to eat it before anybody else. I always, the ribs, the little things. No, I mean, if you want something smooth, but that's all good. It's like, don't peel anything. There's nothing better than the skin on everything. So.
Here. Essie, Julia wants to know, what is your favorite meal?
Oh, my favorite meal is
pick one.
Beans and rice.
What do you have on the beans and rice?
Well, we usually have cut up peppers, corn, mango, all kinds of cut up greens. And it really adds so much to the powerful vitamin and mineral contribution. Oh, and
Go ahead.
I wanted to be sure to mention mango as one of the items that we cut up and put on the beans and rice. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. I just got to give a shout out to Liz because, Liz says plant strong foods are fantastic. I've loved everything that we've bought, and thanks for that. And I want you to know that, we care more about your expiration date than the expiration date on the products. And that's why we don't put any of the crap that's calorie rich and processed foods in our products. We stand by them. We love creating them for you guys. So thank you for that. Let's see.
And also, one of the things I've discovered is that sometimes I always get lots of Rip stuff, and sometimes the product date is gone, and I just freeze it, and it seems to me to last indefinitely that way. I mean, Rip. Yeah.
I know. So whole plant food for life. Ordered the gluten-free waffle mix last week, and then went out and bought a waffle maker from Target. Way to go! You want it, don't you? Well, I guarantee it will not disappoint.
So let me tell you, Rip said, I've got 2 kind of nonstick pans, and I like my nonstick pans. And Rip said, no, the first waffle, you have to have 1 spray of oil. So he did that. So I put his waffles in my nonstick pan with no 1 oil spray first. Perfect. No difference between the 2. Of course, when he does his one thing, then he wipes it all away. And he says, from then on, every waffle works perfectly, or every pancake.
Well, for people though, that like have a cast iron skillet at home or something like that, I don't care how much you're going to will it. It's not going to happen. So 1 spray of oil, wipe it down as much as you can with a paper towel, and then you're good for 15 pancakes after that. You guys know who Trucker Steve is, Ann and Essy? Trucker Steve has been following this lifestyle now for about 2 years. He's down, I think, 180 pounds. And he loves the new pancakes, and he's ordering more. Thanks, Trucker Steve. All right. So I'm catching up to a lot of the questions and conversation now when we spoke about pancakes a while back. So I'm trying to catch up to where everybody is now. Okay, all this conversation's around the pancakes and how good they are. All right. Coffee then.
Where does red cabbage fall?
Here, Essy. Where does red cabbage fall as far as replenishing the endothelium? I eat a few pounds of red cabbage per day because it's convenient and keeps well. How much am I missing out on versus others?
That's hard to know without the absolutely full analysis, but there's no question that red cabbage is wonderful, but be a little bit daring and try a little variety.
Wait, but I agree about red cabbage. I keep a red cabbage that lasts forever. And everything I eat, I have a little shaving of red cabbage. It's in salad. It's in sandwiches. I mean, you've seen it in everything I've given you, Rip.
I know.
Red cabbage.
Yeah.
But you could also combine that little red cabbage with a little bit of kale, a little bit of anything green.
Ann or Essy, any comments on this? Angela Jones says, without oil, she's hungry all the time.
Oh,
now
that's in your head.
Yeah. Well, hold on. Angela, I don't think it's in your head. What I think is your tummy is used to a little bit more.
Right. She's not eating enough
calories because each tablespoon of oil is about 120 calories. And so you just have to eat a little bit more.
Right.
And I think that you'll find that
or snack,
that feeling that you're used to will subside a little bit. And it's okay. And it's okay if you have to get used to kind of resetting your appetite a little bit.
Yeah, I for sure. We get this all the time that people say, oh, I'm weak, I'm whatever, because you're not getting enough calories because you're taking away the high calorie food. So make sure that you eat enough that you don't leave a meal still hungry.
All right, this is what we're going to do. We got 4 more minutes, and then we're going to have to call it. But if Ann and Essy are game, well, I'll check with them. We'll see if maybe we can do another one next Friday, since these questions are just like nonstop. I mean, we could go for a couple hours here.
But we ought to be able to see the questions better.
Well, that's why I'm posting them. Essy or Ann, what are your thoughts on using beet powder supplements to enhance nitric oxide production?
Yeah, it's certainly acceptable, but it's a little way of getting away from when you're eating the green leafy vegetable. You see, you're getting not only the ability to make the nitric oxide, but when you're eating green leafy vegetable, you're getting so many of these other wonderful phytonutrients of vitamins and minerals.
Fiber.
Yeah, and absolutely, and fiber that you're not going to get when you're taking a manufactured powder.
All right, Essy, what are your thoughts on a routine colonoscopy? Yes or no?
Yes.
What's your definition of routine?
Well, whatever the American Cancer Society presently issues, but certainly maybe you get your first one nowadays between 40 and 50, because increasingly it has been recognized that there is an increase in colon cancer in the younger population. So don't be bashful when you're in your 40s. Get that colonoscopy, and then maybe another one in your mid 50s, and then you don't have to have that if you've had one done just before you're 70, because it takes so long for a colon cancer to develop that you're probably okay that's getting near to being your last one.
Have you guys ever had them?
Yes.
I've never had one. I had John McDougall on the podcast. As you can imagine, he's not a huge fan. He thinks that there's another method that's not quite as invasive. I can't remember what it was called. It's not a colonoscopy. It's like an something like that.
Endopad.
Something like that, where it doesn't go.
You look for blood in the stool.
Something like that. I'd have to listen to the podcast again, but yeah, it is crazy how many people I've just in conversations you hear about, my uncle or my aunt or my whatever got diagnosed with, colorectal cancer.
Right.
All right, let's see here. All right, let's just do this as a little thank you. Thank you so much. Love to all of you. You are all so motivating. Definitely keeps my husband and I motivated. Want to thank you all for the wonderful recipes. Kim, you're so welcome. All right, guys, I'm going to shoot through. God, look at us.
Well, I want to tell you, we're having such a good time having Rip here. Not only has he been the cook, but he has been the keeper of his girls, and he's a very good father.
All right, let's end with this one. All right, last question. What about dark chocolate? Is it safe? I have cardiovascular disease.
Well, look at before you
do
anything. Look at the calorie and look at the saturated fat in it.
Yep.
All right, there you go.
Fortunately, I don't like it. Do you like it, Rip? Dark chocolate?
Wait, do I like it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm a chocolate-aholic. I got to be really careful with it.
Dark chocolate?
So you know what? I said that was going to be the last question, but it's not, because you guys know our policy on oil. And Carolyn Schultz says, I asked about olive oil. I'm assuming this was her physician, and was told, pour it on. Bought your book, How to Reverse Heart Disease, 1 year strictly following a plant-based diet. My cholesterol, well, I guess it went down. We don't know. We'll have to revisit that, won't we? I'm assuming you just crushed it, Carolyn. All right.
Actually, I remember you had a patient who was following your program absolutely perfectly, and he didn't understand why everything wasn't quite right. And so you had him over and over again say exactly what you're eating. And he said, well, my wife and I, put olive oil on our sandwich at lunch or whatever at lunch, and we always have it at dinner. And you said, cut it out. And I tell you, he cut it out. Everything changed. Just that one change in no oil.
No, he was
no
also
olive.
slated for his second bypass surgery with angina. And that 7 weeks after we got him to stop all the oil, all of his chest pain went away, and he did not have to have bypass surgery for a second time.
Mm. And Carolyn is chiming in saying that she did crush it. So way to go, Carolyn. Appreciate it. All right, you guys. Hey, thanks for a great live Friday Facebook. We had almost 300 of you tuning in today. We'll be sure to post this on our Go Plant Strong YouTube channel. If you want to rewatch, share it with friends, family. You guys, thanks for subscribing. We appreciate you all. Keep it plant strong.
Rip, can I say something?
Yeah.
You're going to, Saturday night, Rip is going to want to post something, but I want to tell you all that it's amazing what he is probably going to post. He doesn't even know what it is. But Jane and I have got a YouTube that is going to beat your post. And it is a astounding one. So all three, you've got to look at YouTube for Jane Esselstyn, and you've got to look at Rip's Instagram. Maybe you'll have to wait till Sunday, Rip, to post it.
Okay.
Because, okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Essy. Thank you, Ann. Bye, everybody.